All right, guys. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehan. I am very, very excited about this topic. Some of you have seen my posts. Some of you who are my patients have actually come in and got to experience this, what we're talking about today. And all I can say is this is the most life-changing, fun time of my life. I feel like I'm 17 again. I cannot explain to you the energy that I'm having because of this. And I was so excited about it that enough people have asked questions that I finally got someone to help me talk about the topic, someone who has a lot of experience. So I'm really, really super excited to have Tobias here with us. Are you a doctor? I don't even know how to refer to you.
No, I'm actually not a doctor. So
Okay.
uh, I got into I got into ozone therapy. Honestly, it was my parents that were originally getting into ozone therapy. So they this was like back in the early 2000s, and really before ozone therapy had taken off. And so they were doing it. My dad had some health issues. I mean, he was trying like all the different things, and just lo and behold, ozone found ozone and it did a really great job quickly. And so exposed ozone to me at an early age. He did start it. He actually started the company. This was his company originally, and I did take it over. And I do more of the product development. That's what I love to do. Love product design, implementation, how to make things work more efficiently. And but he was the one that really showed me the ropes with ozone. And I've basically been around ozone for over 20, probably like 20, 25 years. And understanding how it works, how it can be used, and just getting to really design and understand the best way to produce a product so people in general can utilize ozone the most effectively at home.
Well, I'm really excited that you're here. And I actually met you from Dr. Tom LaBelle. He's in the southern part of Louisiana and he's been doing it 13 years. And I want to get him on the show one day too, whenever he wants to come out. But today, for those of you guys who are watching, we're going to go over a little bit about some of the benefits, some of the misconceived ideas about ozone.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about how you can get one in your home, like, because I really believe a lot of people should have this in their home. I actually just came back from Europe, and when we would go to the restaurants, the hotels, the bathrooms, there were ozone generators everywhere. And I could smell it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy because I had been 12 days without my own ozone. And so I really got like little hints of it here and there. So we want to make sure that you guys really understand. I've had a lot of people who are asking questions and really, want to get to know, because they say, isn't that what's in the sky? Isn't that supposed to be bad? So we're going to just talk about all of that today. Before we
Yeah.
get really, really deep dive into this, I want to remind you guys, please do share this. Please do um, all the different things to help with the algorithm. And if you have someone who's dealing with some health issues and ready to support themselves, this would be a great thing to share with you, to share with your friends and family who might be going through whatever they're going through. And I think after you listen, you're going to see that you can even benefit from this on a preventative. And so there's just, the sky's the limit. Literally, the sky's the limit with this. So let's just start diving in right here on the benefits. I can tell you some of my experiences, but
Yeah.
what do you got?
So, I mean, ozone is energy. I mean, it's basically it enters our body. I think a good way to explain it is our bodies naturally produce a small amount of ozone through our white blood cells, and so that's essentially how our body fights off the bad things out there, or viruses and bacteria, through the process of oxidation. So we're essentially just supplementing our body with something that our body naturally produces. Now, you can go out and say like, well, oxidants are bad. That's how we age, sort of. But we still have to have a balance. We still have to have oxidants in our system, and we also have to have antioxidants in our system. So ozone also promotes the balancing effect. So it promotes the body to stimulate antioxidants in the process. And so we want that good balance approach. That's what's going to keep us healthy. That's what's going to keep all those other critters at bay. And overall, it's a really powerful tool that we can use. And then really in a quick nutshell, the reason why ozone is effective is if you look at ozone, it's negatively charged. And most of the areas that are, potentially having issues may carry a positive charge. Like a lot of viruses carry positive charges. Even the bad bacteria that cause negative effects on our body carry positive charges. And so ozone has the ability to seek out and attract itself to some of these areas and hopefully destroy what could potentially be causing those issues. So in a nutshell, that's essentially how ozone works. And we can also dive a lot deeper into it if you'd like.
Yeah, can I share a few patient testimony kind of things real quick?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I can tell you for me, back in 2016, I was dealing with reversing cancer for myself. And I actually did the IVs, which we do not do IVs here at the clinic. We have a clinic here, for those of you who aren't familiar, we have a clinic called Living True Wellness here in Denham Springs, Louisiana. But we do not do IVs here, but we do all the other things. So, and we have a lot of fun things to help out. But so that was my introduction, even though I really didn't know too much about it. I was a naturopath at the time, but I did not know the level. I just kind of ruled it out because I didn't have an MD to do IVs and or a nurse practitioner to do IVs. So I didn't know that there were other arenas that I could implement in my practice at the time. But since a few other things have happened and, synchronicities, it's just so fun. I got to meet Dr. Tom and hear some of his things. And, he is having lots of success in and helping with all of those things and more. And so I got my own generator. And the first time, I'll be honest, I overdid myself a bit and had a tiny little detox, which is okay. I'm a big girl. And but I knew all this stuff was, coming out, and we had parasites and we had, phlegm and, feeling fever, and I knew like my body is like, wow. So I do everything I can to make sure I don't overdose anybody. I know what to do now. I've learned. It's been a minute, but the biggest things that we hear are energy. Energy is a big thing. I know for me, I was like, wow, I am not a morning person. And when I started using this, I was getting up. I'm still getting up as long as I do this. And then now I think it's like almost a buildup. I'm getting up at 5 and 6 in the morning, and I'm not getting up at 5 and 6 in the morning like, oh my God, I cannot get out of bed. Like I am getting out like with ideas. I remember initially when I was doing it, I was making lists of all the things I needed to do. Like I'm going to clean this cabinet, and I'm going to do this before work, and I'm going to clean these drawers, and I'm going to clean this section of my office. And then it was like 5:15, and then by 5:20, I was like, why don't I just get up and do it? And so I'm literally like emptying full cabinets in my kitchen, throwing out. I mean, it was like, and this went on for the first like month and a half. It's still happening, actually. I'm like completely overhauling offices. I'm repainting things. I'm like, because I did not have that energy before. I wasn't able. It was like I could see it and it bothered me, but I was so daggone exhausted from seeing patients, doing interviews, family. We have kids. We have everyone's got their stuff. But if you don't feel good, a lot of that stuff for me was getting put on the wayside. So that's the biggest thing. The second biggest thing I hear is skin. Like I constantly, my friends keep saying, why are you petting yourself? Because I will sit there and be like, oh my God, my skin is so different, because it helps with production of collagen.
Yeah, it does.
But pain, sleeping better, nervous system. I had a lady with the STD that was like normal, a breakout or shingles breakout could be very painful for a long, long time. They just do a session, and she called me the next morning. She's like, it's gone. I've had a second person with an STD, same thing, gone. MRSA in the ears, 2 or 3 sessions, gone. So anyway, tell me the benefits that you're seeing. I know you have a lot of stuff that you've seen.
Yeah. So, I mean, probably when it boils down to the energy and the reason why a lot of people see so much benefit with ozone is, if you look at the population in general, most people have some form of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, so such as SIBO, and ozone's great for that. It can help get rid of some of the bad bacteria that's potentially causing the issues. It can put your system back at a more normal level. So obviously, diet is crucial. Like, I'm sure you eat pretty good as well. That probably contributes to your bump in energy levels. But it boils down to like a mix of things. And ozone is part of that key. So you can utilize ozone as a tool to essentially enhance a lot of the things that you're doing. It just kind of puts your body more on track. It balances your terrain more, gets you to that level that you should be. One of the areas that I really like to focus on, that I find honestly the most interesting for me, is oral health with ozone. And so oral health and ozone is key, because if you take a look at your mouth, you have teeth, and each tooth, if you've ever pulled it up, you can connect these to like meridian lines that go to different organs in the body. And so imagine if you have these connections all throughout the body based upon your teeth, and maybe one tooth has a small infection. And so that's disrupting your meridian lines. And there's been a lot of dentists that I've talked to, and like they consistently say, well, there's a tooth that is connected, a molar that's connected to the breast, and we see a high probability of women who have a root canal on that specific tooth end up forming breast cancer. I mean, there's just seems to be such a correlation for that happening. And so that's where it boils down to oral health. You can utilize ozone at home to benefit your oral health. You can utilize ozone water as a mouthwash. You can, treat your gums and your teeth with ozone gas and also ozonated oil, because what you're doing is if you're creating a healthy environment in the mouth, you will have a much better chance of having your organs are going to be better. A healthier mouth, you're just going to have a healthier body. And another cool way to look at it is, when we if you look at like other stuff that you're using for dentistry at home, such as mouthwash, a lot of the mouthwash that people use actually contributes to bad bacteria growth, because it dries your mouth out, and it also a lot of that mouthwash is very acidic, so it actually erodes your enamel and your dentin. Ozone actually creates a positive benefit in the body when it comes to it creates a more favorable environment for your mouth. And so it's going to set you up. It's going to set your mouth up to be in a better state, to not have cavities, to not have overabundance of bad bacteria. And that's just like one starting point for the body. And so I always like to tell people, if they're looking into ozone therapy, look at oral health. If you're not convinced, look at oral health. You're going to notice the fastest benefits when you use ozone therapy that way.
Yeah, and it's very popular with dentists. And I mean, there's a lot of dentists in the area that will use it just to take care of a cavity or a root canal, or, I don't know why there's like this disconnect. And the other thing that I found was really weird is veterinarians are using it.
Yep, they are.
I've watched a whole, so I work at a shelter, a foster shelter, here in our town as well, with animals and cats and dogs and all the things. And so I watched this 6-hour conference on ozone with animals on YouTube. And you guys can watch it too, because I'm a geek. I love all this stuff. But I was just I'm like, okay, then why is it, why isn't this not mainstream? Like, I don't understand. but we do know why.
Yeah, we do know why. I mean, well, first of all, there's no, you can't patent it, so therefore it's never going to be mainstream. So without a patent, why would mainstream medicine pick it up? There's not going to be the money in it to justify their existence. And so, we've all seen it happen. If they can patent something, they can make money on it. Obviously, it's the next greatest thing. And so, ozone's been around for over 100 years. And so they've been treating, Tesla was the one that first brought it out.
Hero. Yes, he's my hero, and
Absolutely.
he made this. All you
But
people who watch, you know who Tesla is. You love Tesla. This is legit. Keep going.
it
Sorry, I'm so
is.
excited.
And oh no, you're fine. And I want to point out, like back in the 1920s, they were using ozone to treat like trench foot in soldiers. They were using it limb bags to deal with infections. They were medically using this successfully back then. And then of course, once the AMA kicked in, they vilified it, which they did with the majority of stuff out there, and it basically went away. But then it started coming back in like the 50s and the 60s. And the amount of clinics that are popping up that provide ozone therapy around the country is unbelievable. The amount of people who are getting into ozone at home is unbelievable. I mean, there's just been such a growth, because and I associate that growth because it actually works. Like if it didn't work, people wouldn't be wanting to do this. Like it's such a great tool to have at home. You can use it anytime you want to, at your convenience. And I mean, you're going to find yourself treating your kids, treating your pets, treating your relatives. And, even if you just want to focus on yourself, that's amazing. But, it's such a powerful tool to deal with like viruses and pathogens out there that, may have, we may not know what to do with, but ozone, what's great about ozone is there's never going to be resistance built to it. So all bacteria, no matter what it does, mutates, ozone will destroy it no matter what. All viruses, ozone deactivates no matter what. There's not going to be a resistance built up because there's some, mutation or whatever. Ozone goes after the cell wall, and it deactivates viruses so rapidly. And that's why it's so effective. And it's
Yep.
safe.
Yeah, and then ATP. Talk about that because
Yeah.
that's biggie. I mean, the
Well,
older we
that's your
get,
energy.
yeah,
That's your energy. I mean, you be like, I always like to talk about like my mom when she lives on a hill and she has to walk down to check her mail, and she consistently tells me all the time, every time I drink a glass of ozone water, I feel like I can just run up the hill, and I'm like, that's a great story. I love it. So,
I,
but yeah,
I
it adds. You're literally putting energy into your body. I mean, if you look at how it's created, I mean, let's talk about that as well. Ozone is just oxygen. It's just O2. So the air that we breathe is, obviously oxygen and some other gases, but we're taking pure oxygen, which is O2, and we're literally electrically charging it. And if you were able to look at ozone in like a dark room, it actually glows. It has a color to it, and it almost looks like a plasma, if that makes sense. And so ozone is essentially energy we're adding to our body. Our body already produces ozone. It knows what to do with it. It's how our body fights off, the bad critters out there, like I've previously discussed. And so you're essentially just supplementing your body with what it already knows what to do. So it's
yeah.
really cool
Well,
stuff.
the water I just actually got because you can get your own home water bottle. This isn't enough for me, but I'm really excited just about this, and I'm going to do an unboxing video with it here. I know this is meant for
Well,
more dental, but
it is.
I started drinking 70 ounces a day. I don't know if I'm overdoing it of the ozone water, and I feel like $1,000,000. I'm just saying. And like everyone who is coming to the clinic is saying, "What are you doing? What is going on with you?" Like all my friends, my family, everyone. I feel like I'm losing weight. I haven't checked on the scale, but I think the whole candida thing that you mentioned might be something having to do with that. My taste buds are changing. I like coffee tastes weird to me. Wine tastes weird to me. I don't have the cravings for like sugar stuff anymore. I actually decided, well, I'm doing so great, I might as well start intermittent fasting again. And
Nice.
I just did like a 3-day fast and really got into, I'm like, why not? I'm already there. Let's just keep going. Let's do this all the way. I'm like all in.
So I want
But
to I want to note something on what you just said regarding like potentially having candida and treating that. So a couple things that we do want to address with ozone is ozone will kill some of the good bacteria as well. It's just how it works, but that's not a bad thing. Okay, so when we add ozone to the body, we have to, like, typically if you're dealing with SIBO or candida, you have an overgrowth of a bad bacteria or a bad fungi or a bad yeast. And so you have to knock that down, and in the process you may knock some of your good stuff down as well, but that's okay. All of the ozone doctors that I've talked to, and I've dealt with a lot of them, and these are pretty prominent people out there, and their one takeaway with ozone is when you compare it to an antibiotic,
Oh
your
yeah.
good bacteria bounce back exponentially faster. And so it is recommended for some people to take a probiotic. But
Yes.
if you're not feeling good, if you're having fatigue issues or health issues, you have an imbalance in your system, and that needs to be addressed first. Like that's your primary thing that you need to address, and then you will start to rebuild back healthier and stronger with the use of ozone. In my opinion, that's the way I look at it. I get that question all the time. Well, doesn't it kill the good bacteria? Yes, but it's something that we don't need to be overly concerned about because our good bacteria repopulate so much faster. And it is something that you can obviously supplement with a probiotic if needed.
Well, and I do probiotics every day anyway, and everybody should, I think, in my opinion, to be on
Mm-hmm.
some good one. And you have some really good ones too that we just purchased actually. So, and they're suppositories, which I think are way
Yes,
better because you bypass the digestive system and it just has a straight shot right in there, and you can actually get way more by just doing the suppository versus an actual taking it internally and having to go through all the process of, all the juices and acids and digestion that kind of kills a lot of it. So
that's
um,
correct.
you
Yes.
you have a lot of great things there. Let's talk about mental, like clarity and that kind
Yeah.
of thing, because I'm dealing with 2 or 3 dementia kind of and or autistic places
Okay.
people, and we're seeing some changes with that. But I'd like to see what you're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to mental clarity, we deal with a lot of patients. Probably the most common type of patient that we deal with are people who have Lyme disease. And if you've
Mhm.
had Lyme disease in the past, or if you know somebody who does, you're most likely going to experience that brain fog that a lot of people associate Lyme disease with. And so, we have a lot of individuals who will do the ear insufflations where they will add ozone to the ears, and it's almost like lifting the fog from their head. They feel better, they think clearer. And then this also kind of you know goes into the fact, like you mentioned, dementia. I've talked to a lot of doctors, and they do ear insufflations on patients, and they're able to, there's like, I can't remember the name of it, but there's some type of measurement that they use, and they were able to actually see like a progression slowdown of those numbers. So they were able to see that it was actually providing some benefit. I've dealt with a lot of individuals who have like other issues, and not just Lyme, but when they do this ozone treatment at home, it does create a sense of clarity. Let's not call it permanent by any means, but there is an enhancement that they realize and they feel. And the cool thing with ozone is you can do it, just about every day to every other day at home. So if you're having like a bad day, do your ozone.
Yes, very much so. And I've actually, not just with the clarity, and the kind of the wake up and the going to sleep and having great sleep, but also I have a few athletes that come in and they're saying that their coaches or their trainers are saying, "What are you doing?" Because they've just done 2 or 3 sessions and their strength training is increasing, they're running faster, their times are getting better.
Yeah.
So speaking to that.
So it's actually kind of a funny story. So there was I think it was a doctor in Belgium, and he got in trouble for doping because he was dealing with like professional cyclists. Turns out they were doing ozone therapy where they pull the blood out, ozonate the blood, and put it back in. And it was providing a performance enhancement to these professional athletes. So he got in trouble for doing that. I know you're not supposed to do this in performance enhancement,
Is that
regardless
what
of what it
Lance
is,
Armstrong was doing?
but say what?
Is that what the Lance Armstrong thing was? Was he doing that?
Well, Lance Armstrong, I think he was doing like other types of drugs, but like
Oh,
this was
okay.
like the thing with ozone is it's undetectable. So they would have
Oh,
had to somebody would have had to know for that to actually for them to be caught. So But yeah, you are seeing athletes doing that. It does give them an edge. It gives them a recovery edge. You're also seeing a lot of athletes do it when they're injured. So, like a good example, there's a therapy out there called prolozone therapy that was, you know, done. It was created by Dr. Frank Schellenberger. And so, what you do is you fill up a syringe with ozone gas. And so that you have that syringe of gas ready. Then you have another syringe that's going to contain, it's like, I think the combination is dextrose, some B vitamins, and then some like procaine for your numbing agent. And what you do is you inject it into the joint, and then you follow it with ozone gas. And the results are pretty unbelievable. My wife had a 8 millimeter herniated disc in her back that was not getting better. And we had to do an MRI to figure out what was going on. And the doctor, I think, said, like, how are you, like, this is not even safe for you to be walking around. And so we ended up doing a round of prolozone injections in her back. And so they don't just like stick it into the spines, just to be clear. They hit the muscles with the ozone gas around the disc. So you're injecting the gas into the muscle. And I mean, I think this was going on like a month and a half of her just like unable to do anything, constantly lying down. And then within 3 days, she was 80% better, back to work, on her feet again, almost pain-free within 3 days of those shots. And we were just like, it's actually a really good story because before we were about to go get the shots from our chiropractor that we work with, her parents heard about it and they were like, this doesn't sound very legit. I don't know how I feel about this. And I mean, it was either this or surgery. So of course we're going to go get the ozone shots. And lo and behold, it works so well that now her parents go to get ozone shots at the same doctor. So it just goes to show you, like, when you see family members seeing such benefits from it, and then it translates to other family members are going to want to do the same thing. And so the results just speak for itself. Like, when you see results happening that quickly, it's really hard to say, oh, that was just like a fluke or whatever. I mean, you see results happening that quick with the family member, you become a believer really, really fast.
Yeah, well, I'm a data person, and I'm a very much gotta try it myself before I, get crazy about it. And that's definitely what's happened with not only me, but even my parents. My parents they're doing sessions. They've done several sessions now, and they keep buying all the stuff. And I was like, oh, can I play with that? Can I play with that? And it's been really, really fun. Let's talk before we jump into the home aspect. Let's talk about mold, and
Okay.
not internally but externally. Like, what? Go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So mold is a big issue. Okay. I mean, especially with, people living in the South with high humidity. I live in Arkansas. We have high humidity. I mean, everybody has an HVAC system in their house. You kind of have to. So, whether it's mold or mycotoxins, there's a pretty good chance people are subjected to it. Obviously, you should do everything you can to limit the mold and the mycotoxins, whether it's in your air ducts or in your house somewhere. But let's get real. You can't always do that. And you may do everything perfect, but there could potentially be some issues. Ozone, you can actually, like, ozone has been shown, first of all, they use ozone to destroy mold. Let's just be clear. I mean, it's like one of the most common things that, people do for mold remediation. You can use ozone generators in your home to get rid of mold, but you can also use ozone internally to deal with mold issues. And so, types of therapies include like rectal insufflations, drinking ozone water. And so it can essentially enhance your immune system to fight the mold off, or to essentially process it and deal with it. And so, that's a big takeaway for me, because we see a lot of people who've had mold toxicity because of a situation they were unaware of. And when they start getting into ozone, they start to feel better. And, it's the body's ability to fight this stuff off and get them to a better state. And, I think I think there's a ton of people out there who don't realize that they're being subjected to small amounts of mold, like, over time, and that can wear on your system, time and time again.
Yeah, even whether, I mean, I travel a lot and I've been to hotel rooms that I'm like, oh my God, like I want to just go with my generator everywhere at this point. But it's in the, you could see it not just in the bathrooms or on the walls, but right there. I mean, I've pulled up the AC and like you look at the filters, I'm like, oh my
Oh, it's
God.
disgusting.
And
Oh,
once you,
yeah,
yeah,
I
I
do the
doc
same thing. I travel with an ozone generator and blast it in the hotel rooms because it's disgusting sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great for odor too. And I mean, I'm in the South, so pretty much mold. And when we have storms, Katrina, different things, a lot of people want to do remediation through like bleaches and stuff. Well, that just makes it grow faster. It goes away for a minute, but it comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
This is one way to kind of, get rid of it completely. And let me just be clear, because I've had some people who are like, isn't that dangerous, to set an ozone generator in your house? Absolutely. You should not be in the house when this kind of generator anyway. We're the home generator. Well, for
I
therapy,
can clear that. I can
yeah,
clear that up if
yeah.
you want me
Please
to.
explain,
So
because I don't want people thinking they can
yeah.
just bomb their house and then not die or
Okay.
kill their plants.
So
But
it boils down to concentration. Okay. So there's two areas of the body that do not do well with ozone gas, and that's the lungs and the eyes. Okay. The lungs are considered probably the most sensitive part of the body with ozone. Um, but that's just how it is. I mean, so we're not going to be breathing ozone, like no matter what we're doing with home treatments or using ozone in your home. So if you're using an ozone machine that is going to be for mold remediation, that has to be really, really strong. Okay. You want a lot of ozone. And so if you walked into that room and, were subjecting yourself to the air by breathing it in, you're gonna be fine. It's just gonna make you cough. Okay. Everybody says, ozone is toxic. No, it's not. Ozone is an irritant. Okay. And if you irritate your lungs too much, it can cause respiratory distress. But you're gonna know before long. Like if you're walking into a room that has ozone blasting, you're like, oh, I can smell it. First of all, it has a very pungent odor. It's a very distinct odor, and you're gonna know that you need to remove yourself so you can breathe better. And that's just, it's not something that's invisible. You're gonna know well ahead of time that you need to get out there. So when we translate that to home ozone therapy, we're using like very low flows and low concentration. And by the time it enters the room, it's diluted itself so much that it's not even going to be an issue if you breathe it. And so it actually smells good and it can actually provide some benefits at that level when breathing it. And so when we talk about home ozone, we're talking about such a different application, such a different concentration level, such a different way we use it than an ozone generator that is specifically designed for dealing with mold issues in a home. I cannot hear you. Hold on.
oh, sorry, that's me.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So, for those of you who like the smell of rain, um, ozone is above our atmosphere, and when it rains and thunders, it pierces through and comes through, and that's the smell that you're smelling. To me, it smells very fresh. Um, yes, if it was super super concentrated and that level of gas, then of course it's a little bit extra and you might cough. I don't think I've ever coughed, to be honest. But
Yeah.
and then if you have it on a timer or something where it's just doing a little bit at a time, and that's what they do overseas, is they have it set to a certain time to go off a little bit and then go away because it
Yeah.
dissipates in 15 seconds. And so
Yeah.
it's
I
just,
mean, yes. Very
yeah. And
short half life.
yep. Yep. They use them in hospitals. They still to this day use them in hospitals, hotels, bathrooms, restaurants all across Europe. Because I was just there in multiple countries in Europe, and everywhere we went, I was like, ozone, ozone, ozone. Everywhere we go, ozone. It's like everywhere.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I like to, I always want to refer to people who have some, well, if they're still a little leery about ozone, like first of all, like when you see like an ozone alert in California, that's what's happening is you have pollution and smog, and then the sunlight interacts with that, and it actually generates ozone. And ozone is actually what neutralizes the pollution. So ozone is not the pollutant. It is a form of measurement. So when they want to measure how bad the pollution, it's really hard to measure like a bunch of different compounds. It's easier to measure one, and that's why they typically measure the ozone level to determine how bad the pollution is. And so ozone is there to neutralize the pollution. If we didn't have it, we'd all be dead. But when we talk about the safety of ozone, I'm sure people listening to this probably drink bottled water. Well,
Exactly.
all bottled water is purified with ozone. Okay, so there's no other way to do it. If they use chlorine instead, it would leave a horrible residual taste in that bottle, and nobody would like it. Ozone, they inject that ozone into the bottle. It diminishes within a very quick time because it has such a short half life. Because all it is oxygen, and then you have this beautiful, fresh, clean, delicious water to drink after the fact.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's jump in. We have just a few minutes left. Let's talk about home use, how to get
Okay.
into home use, and that kind of stuff. I think there might be some people who are interested in jumping in and grabbing their own
Yeah.
generator.
So what we do is we have a landing page set up, and it's going to be promolife.com/Dr. Sharnael. I'd recommend putting that in the chats when people view this. And so when you visit that link, there's going to be a step process that we go through. So it's going to be step one is going to be picking your oxygen source. So probably the most difficult thing with getting into home ozone is you have to have a pure oxygen source to create that ozone. You don't want to create the ozone from ambient oxygen. So like a good example is like this is a pretty standard size tank that we use. We typically recommend industrial oxygen, or if you have access to medical oxygen, that works out great. We also have options where we can ship pre-filled canisters to your door. It's more expensive because of the regulations and hazmat fees associated with shipping a compressed gas bottle, but we can ship it to your doors. That being said, that is step one. You have to select your oxygen source, and we have videos that teach you about it, that tell you what to do and how to go about getting it. So after step one is complete, we're going to move to step two, which is picking the type of ozone package that you want. So we have two packages that we typically recommend. It's going to be our basic insulation package or our comprehensive ozone package. And each package allows you to do specific things at home. And so we do go in detail with these videos that will teach you what you can do and why you'd want to do this at home. And then the last step is step number 3. It's get trained. So, once you get this package in, you're going to see, an oxygen bottle. You're going to see an ozone generator, which they look like, they look like this. Like this. And,
Yes.
there's some tubes hanging around. And so we want to make sure people know how to properly use this stuff.
Yeah.
So we have videos that actually walk you through step by step on what to do. We have a great picture-based instruction manual that we send out. And then in addition, we offer free video support. So you can actually select a time through our website, and then one of our trained individuals will get on a one-on-one video support with you and walk you through what to do. And so, I always call those the 3 ways to get trained. And you can choose all 3, or you can choose just one. But overall, we want people. I come from the belief that if you're not being successful with ozone, you're not going to tell people about it, and it's not going to grow. And so, if we can allow you to be successful, you're way more likely to pass this information on to other people and hopefully get into their hands as well. So that's the steps.
Yes, and I got to give a shout out because you guys at customer service are amazing. Colton, Christopher, all you guys, everybody is so fantastic. I've had to do the training, and I got to do the training, I should say, and go through the videos, and they're so easy. I mean, it does look a little intimidating at first to see beakers, and I feel like a mad scientist, and I'm like, ooh, I'm getting so geeky here, but it's really, really fun. And once you get get over the hurdle of the fear of it, it's really
Yeah.
actually super easy. It's not intimidating at all. Maybe it's something I just made up in my mind, but I'm used to more like, I guess, easier, push a button, red light therapy, zip up the
Yeah.
thing, hyperbaric, where this is a little bit, turn this knob, do this, fill the water. There's a little more steps, but I'm telling you, if I didn't have any of the things that we have PMF, hyperbaric, we have red light, we have biofeedback, we have lasers. Like, I mean, we a whole wellness center full of things. And if I can only have one thing, this is the thing that I would have. This is portable. This is something anyone could have in their home very easily. It's probably the least expensive thing that I have in my center. So any person should be able to have one at home.
Yeah.
And it does everything to not just me, my kids, my practice, the plants, the animals. I mean, you could really help your communities. People could just really, really help, like a whole group
Yeah.
of people, you know?
I just had a meeting with one of my good clients, and they're from the Netherlands, and they actually, what they do is they set up like locations in people's homes, and it's free of charge for people to find these locations and do ozone therapy. The only thing that they ask in return is like a donation to keep it going, but like they're looking to put like 20 to 30 locations all throughout like certain countries. Actually, I think it's the Netherlands, 20 to 30 locations, just so people can come in and start utilizing ozone, and really learn the benefits. So, people, people believe in it. I mean, they realize that this is one of the best like ways to protect yourself from like bacteria and viruses out there. We all know what's happened in the past, and it's one of the things like when if I'm not feeling good, this is ozone's my go-to because it works so quickly. Like you see such a bounce back effect because it lowers viral load in the body. It gives your body a much better chance to recover. It benefits your terrain, and to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, there's so many other different ways to use it, and I can obviously go over that. Um, you know, when you do go to the landing page, we do discuss those modalities as far as how you can use ozone. But the predominant way, and I hope people are okay with this, it's called rectal insufflation. It's basically like an enema, but instead
Mm-hmm.
of liquid, we're using gas. And
Mm-hmm.
so the gas gets absorbed in the colon incredibly well, and then it gets distributed all throughout the body. I mean, a rectal insufflation, I mean, it's almost as equivalent to like almost as equivalent to doing IV ozone, where
Yeah.
you're actually taking out the blood and putting it back in. That's how effective it is. In addition, for women, they can do vaginal
Right.
insufflations where they add ozone vaginally. We've seen a phenomenal results for women who have like endometriosis, women who have like really heavy periods. They'll notice within like one or two vaginal insufflations that the heaviness goes back down to normal. Dr. Tom, actually, I spoke with him at length about that. He's seen tremendous success with that as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Crohn's and
Crohn's, yep,
IBS. Mm-hmm. Yep.
absolutely. It helps with flare ups. You can drink ozonated water for even like food poisoning issues. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Ear insufflations are great for cognitive issues and eye health. We have all these cool products. Like we have this really cool product we came out with called our ozone shorts. So it allows you to actually ozonate the groin area because that's a very
Oh,
seems to be a lot of bacterial growth in that area. We have another product that allows you to ozonate your scalp. So if people who have like dandruff issues, which is fungal related, you can actually ozonate your scalp. I've told myself that as soon as my kids come home with lice, I'm putting the
oh,
ozone head bag on and ozonating their scalp because
yeah.
I know for a fact that that'll obliterate the lice issue if or when there ever is one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, crazy cool uses. It's not hard to do. Do them in the privacy of your own home. Be your own advocate. Be your own doctor. That's what I recommend.
Yeah. And two, Tom was telling me, since you mentioned the lice, moths, bed bugs, any kind of thing that you don't want in the house, that is a big one too, where you could just
Yeah,
eliminate that without using powerful pesticides or getting somebody to come into your home and really fill your house with chemicals, and then you have all these side effects. I mean, oh my gosh, the side effects of these things are really, really hazardous and cancer causing. So this is a
yeah,
way to do
they
it
are.
without any of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it's pretty easy to use. Like I like to people. One of the questions that people ask is like, what about cost? Like maintenance cost. Like maintenance cost is really minimal, it really boils down to like getting your oxygen tank filled. So getting one of these oxygen tanks is roughly like $150. To refill that tank, they treat it like a propane tank. You give it back to them empty. They give you a filled new one. Getting a refill is like $30. So and a tank lasts me about 6 months. And so my average expenditure cost is some of the plastic components, which are a few bucks a piece, electricity, which is minimal, and then $30 every 6 months for oxygen. So once you have it, your maintenance cost is probably cheaper than any other product that you're ever going to have, in my opinion.
Definitely agree. And just to be clear, and I want to make sure everyone hears me say this, it's not the ozone that's healing. Okay. It's the ozone that's going into the body to give your body a chance to upgrade and to do what it's born to do. Anyway, we are amazing machines and we are meant to heal. Our bodies heal on our own. But this is just a little thing to kind of help take away the things that are kind of hindering that process and or to
sort of,
right.
But I want to add to that. Okay. I want to add to that. So yes, it enhances your body's ability, or it enhances your body's immune system, which allows your body to repair, fight off, do other things. It also goes after and kills bacteria and viruses. Okay. So it selectively can go after these things. So it allows your immune system to do it, but it also selectively goes after it. It also reduces inflammation. So like that's a big key. So when you talk about like reducing inflammation, enhancing your body's immune system, actively going out and seeking these getting deactivating viruses or even killing bacteria, that's like the way that essentially ozone works in the body. And there's other ways as well. It's going to, like we talked about, it enhances ATP, which is your energy. It's going to I think my big takeaway is like, from even when you look at like oral health, it's going to help with that. But you're looking at really, it bolsters your immune system and it fights off some of those things that your immune system could be having an issue dealing with.
Yeah, it takes away the roadblocks so your body can do what you need to do. And then with the ATP, that is amazing. But you mentioned I think you said something about Lyme a while ago, but also chronic fatigue and fibro is such a big, huge thing. And mental clarity, energy, weight loss, a lot of these, when people come to me, they always have the same like 8 things really. And this can cover all of those things. And there is a body bag. It kind of sounds bad to say body bag, but it's just literally a bag. And you get in there like a burrito and you just zip in and we can gas the bag. That sounds so weird. But we get in and we make sure it's sealed. So you're not like getting anything seep out and breathing that in. Put a fan on your face. So just in case there's a little that comes out, you don't have an issue. And you just kind of hang out in there and it goes right through your pores. I mean, talk about another way to really get it in. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So there's multiple ways to absorb ozone in the body. Like we talked about, you can add it rectally, vaginally, through the ears. You can drink the water to get it in your system. Really, the goal is to have the ozone absorb in your system. So one thing that's different with ozone versus like oxygen, ozone has a much higher solubility rating, so it's going to absorb quicker into the body. Okay, like we're talking about like 20 to 30 times better than oxygen itself. So that's why you can also utilize the skin to absorb oxygen, or to absorb some of the ozone. So a lot of people will do ozone saunas. They'll do the full body ozone bag. They'll cup ozone with a cupping funnel. Where's my cupping funnel go? It's around here somewhere. But you can apply ozone directly to like a specific spot on the body. Here it is. It's great for like if you have a cut or something like that. But it will absorb. It will get in there. You can even add a little bit of moisture to help that absorption, kick in. But overall, I mean, it's going to absorb better than oxygen itself. And the whole point is you're just trying to get it into your body so it gets absorbed and goes into your bloodstream. That's the goal.
Yes, and I will add too, when you guys go to the website, there are some really great oils there as well. You can get coconut
Yeah.
oil, olive oil, there's hemp oil, there is CBD stuff, there's suppositories. They're all
Yeah.
ozonated.
Ozonated. Yeah.
And so if you can't get a generator, you can at least get the water bottle and drink the water, and then maybe take some olive oil um, um, that's been
We
ozonated
have,
and just get
yeah,
into the gut. Or
capsules, suppositories. I mean, it all works very similarly. Um, and I know if you go to that, if you do go to the landing page, we do offer discounts for your customers. So there will be a coupon code listed on the landing page. We don't say coupon codes over the podcast, because if they ever had to change for some reason, but there will be a coupon code on there for a select discount. So anything we can do to help out with your customer base, we would love to get them involved and get them on their journey to checking out ozone therapy.
absolutely. Well, I'm really, really loving. Tom gave me some of the oil, and he showed me pictures of women before and after who've been using it, and I was just like, oh, come on, But I started watching YouTube, and you guys, I encourage you, don't just listen to what we're saying. Go on YouTube and watch. There's a lot of other people who are doing the same thing, but this is
Yeah,
a really big thing in LA. The celebrities are doing it like before they go on planes. If they have long hour things, they're doing it for anti-aging. They're putting it on their skin and they're looking great. I know. I just got mine maybe a few weeks ago, and I can just feel it, but it does because of that increased collagen. And it's not just for cosmetics, it's for the inside. It's like how
yeah,
I feel and how I want to feel and how you guys can feel the same or better, and get to your optimal, peak happy self. I mean, three or
yeah.
four people, I got to say, one of the big takeaways that people come back with, when I'll check every morning, anyone who comes in for a session, because I'm still kind of playing around with the dials, and I'll say, hey, how's it going? So many people have responded and said, oh my God, is this a mood booster? Oh my God, I feel so happy. Is this a happy pill? Or even before they leave, they're just like, I feel so happy. I feel so calm. I feel like, so there's got to be something to that too. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly if it's like a dopamine or a serotonin, or there's something there, right?
Well, I think when people feel better, they're happier. I think that's what it boils down to. So, and I do want to note on the whole like collagen thing. It's kind of interesting. So, um, I like to use an example called Peyronie's disease. So, Peyronie's
Mm-hmm.
disease is a condition in men where if they've had like some damage in the penis, they have scar tissue and it's usually bent. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of urologists that I've talked to, they actually inject ozone gas into that bump. And what it's
Wow.
doing is it's taking that scar tissue, which is technically a collagen, and it's converting it back to a healthier tissue. Uh, and so it's almost like neutralizing the scar tissue and reverting it back into healthy tissue. Medically speaking, that's impossible, but the urologist that I've talked to said it's ozone shots are more effective than the pill. So
Whoa.
it's quite fascinated to hear that.
Yes. Well, we had a lot of people come back. I've only had it maybe 50% men compared to women, who come in the wellness center. But the women are all explaining libido is pretty nice, that they're like enjoying that part of the whole thing too. Because again, maybe it's
Nice.
just happy, maybe it's just feeling better to be able to move, to do things and just
Yeah.
have the energy to take care of things, or in the house and do whatever and not feel so stressed. And
I think one of the things that I've noticed more than anything with individuals is I don't think people realize how bad they feel. Okay.
that's
And
exactly what I said. I've said that like 50 times. I didn't know how bad I was until I felt good. And then I was like,
yeah,
dang,
they're like, so this is how I should be feeling. And
yeah,
I think people live so long like in this constant stage of like, man, I feel like crap. And then they start to actually like improve and they feel good, like, wow, this is what it feels like. And you don't want to lose that once you feel it again. So I think it's pretty cool.
yes. Well, I really, really, really appreciate your time. I know we're going to have you back to talk about hydrogen as well,
Oh,
and maybe
yes.
a few other things. We have a lot of different topics we might need to cover, but I know you're
I love
busy. And
hydrogen too. So
yes, yeah, like I said, I got my little bottle, which you guys have too. And yeah, I will have my discount code here and in the chat. You guys can look for it. Um, every little bit of discount always helps. And we just want to do everything we can to help you guys to be able to get your own, whether it's your own generator, your own water bottle, your hydrogen bottle, any of the oils or the supplements. Well, suppositories, I should say. And there are a couple supplements that you guys have too, which I found were kind of interesting. But yeah, we'll have to do a whole couple like
yeah,
series on this of just different things. But for you guys to get this in your house and to start doing this on your own and using it on your family and plants, like taking the water and putting it in the plants, putting it in the animals' water, this can be a game changer for a lot of people. And I'm just so grateful that I landed here at this space because it's been a game changer for me and my family for sure.
yeah.
And yeah, just thank you so much for being with. Any final words?
Well, I just want to point out, like, for anybody looking to get into ozone, yes, there may, you can look at it as being there could be a lot of components or pieces, but we've got your back. We've done this thousands of times with individuals. We know what to do. We can make something that, if you feel overwhelmed, we can turn it into a completely normalized experience, so you feel confidence in using ozone at home. It's what we do, and we're good at it for a reason. And we want to we just want to provide the opportunity to people to get them set up, and so they can start using this correctly. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there. I hate to say it, but we can cut through that really quickly with individuals and get them caught up to speed, and really have them be their own advocate, moving forward.
Absolutely. And that's really my big deal, being responsible and taking away the power from all this external, because really everything is an inside job. And that's something that I talk about a lot. You guys hear me say that over and over and over again, is when we work on ourselves, we are actually affecting everyone on the physical and the conscious level. And that
Yeah.
changes even spirituality and our connection to everything and God and nature and all of those things. So I'm all about being happy and living my best. And I love that you guys can join me in this and check these things out for yourself and see if that's something that fits in your lifestyle and what you're doing. And if not, maybe pass it on to somebody that can and does
Okay.
require this. But thank you again. And I know we're going to have you back, Toby, and appreciate you so much. And see you guys later. Make sure to
Yeah.
subscribe, share, all of
ab-
that.
Absolutely. And I thank you very much for the time. This was great. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.